When a head of state embarks on a multi-country European diplomatic tour, the optics are usually carefully choreographed. These are high-stakes visits focused on securing trade agreements and projecting international strength. But during a recent state visit to Norway, the narrative derailed. A major Norwegian newspaper published a cartoon depicting the visiting leader as a sneaky snake charmer, sitting on a mat, drawing not a snake but a petrol pipe out of a basket. The target of this caricature was Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And while social media immediately lit up with criticism over the racist undertones, this style of insult follows a documented historical pattern. Whenever a Western publication attempts to illustrate India's growing role in the world, they routinely reach for the same bucket of colonial tropes. In 2014, a prominent Western outlet mocked India's attempt to join the elite space club by drawing an Indian farmer knocking on a door while holding a cow on a leash. That cartoon was published exactly as the Indian Space Research Organization successfully placed its Mongolian probe into orbit around Mars on its very first attempt. In 2015, during international climate negotiations, another widely circulated cartoon depicted Indians looking baffled by solar panels provided by the UN, eventually deciding to chop them up and eat them. Meanwhile, the physical reality on the ground shows India operating as a global leader in renewable energy, building solar infrastructure on a massive scale. India maintains its own nuclear arsenal, a space program that reaches Mars, and an economy larger than most European nations. Yet Western media persistently defaults to a backward 19th century aesthetic to represent it, raising the question of why this bias is permitted to exist. Geopolitically, countries fall on a spectrum between a soft state and a hard state. India fits the soft state. Citizens heavily criticize degrading cartoons online, venting frustration, but the state rarely enforces diplomatic or economic consequences. China represents the exact opposite. Chinese leadership exercises absolute control over its global image, and they enforce that control aggressively across international borders. Try to find a major Western news outlet today willing to publish a crude, racist caricature of the Chinese leader. You won't find one. Foreign journalists and media conglomerates know that mocking China invites immediate, severe economic retaliation. When internet users began comparing him to the cartoon character Winnie the Pooh, the state didn't just ban the images domestically, they pressured foreign media outlets and effectively scrubbed the association from global search results to ensure the mockery could not spread. A hard state sanitizes its global reputation through fear. By strictly punishing dissent, they create an environment where international journalists are often too intimidated to publish a hit piece. Beyond passive censorship, some states seek narrative control through active investment. Evidence suggests that some instances of foreign press bias are deliberate, funded operations. Recently, a journalist in Taiwan was arrested and jailed. Investigators discovered the reporter was secretly taking bribes directly from Beijing to act as an agent, extracting military secrets and shaping local media narratives to favor the mainland. Which brings us back to the Norway visit. During the trip, a Norwegian journalist aggressively confronted the Indian Prime Minister, demanding to know why the country ranked so low on the World Press Freedom Index. It was a highly publicized, unprompted interrogation. A look into this specific journalist's publication history reveals a clear pattern. She maintains a long, documented track record of writing articles praising China and framing its leadership as a flawless power. At the same time, her portfolio is filled with aggressive hit pieces aimed at Western political figures and business leaders, maintaining a consistent hostility toward anything outside the sphere of Beijing's interests. Shortly after the video of her confronting the Prime Minister went viral, both her Facebook and Instagram accounts were immediately and unexpectedly suspended. The intersection of state funding and local journalism creates a powerful mechanism for narrative control. When financial leverage and state-backed interests align, they allow foreign actors to influence the global conversation through supposedly independent voices. We have to look at how international power actually functions. Global optics directly dictate a nation's leverage. How a country is perceived influences trade negotiations, military alliances, and its standing in the UN. The snake charmer cartoon printed in Norway is a symptom of the power vacuum left by a soft state. As long as a country tolerates crude caricatures without imposing diplomatic consequences, some segments of the global press will continue to exploit that weakness, pushing outdated tropes because it is safe to do so. Democratic nations allow for a free and critical press. However, authoritarian regimes actively engineer their geopolitical reputation through pressure and fear, ensuring they are always presented as formidable. As this diplomatic tour advances into vital European economic centers like Italy, the battle to control the national narrative becomes critical for securing major international agreements. Political caricatures act as accurate geopolitical barometers. Until a nation strictly defends how it is projected globally, it will remain trapped by the stereotypes of its past.
If you value clarity over chaos, explore more on Clear Lens X.